Hey, good morning, everybody. It's your favorite Texas trucker again, and just a little update, and then I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about the Qualcomm. Um, I'm sitting at the Valley Forge Travel Plaza, which is about 35 to 40 minutes away from my final destination. Last night, or the night before last, I stopped in a travel plaza in Indiana, and I had 37 minutes left on the clock, and there was another rest area 34 miles away. And if I had went ahead and gone to that second rest area 34 miles away instead of stopping at the one that I was at, then I would be at my destination right now. So it's a lesson learned. It was a mistake in not going that far, but I didn't realize that I was that close on my time, which again is a mistake, and one that I'll try not to repeat. The reason this is important, I'm not anywhere near being late for my appointment. It's 6:59 in the morning right now. Normally I would be on the road, but my appointment's not till 11 o'clock. Now, I'm not talking to older, experienced truckers because they know this stuff a lot better than I am. I'm talking to people that are considering getting into this industry, or people who are students who haven't got a lot of practical experience yet. All right. You have the hours of service rules can be a little confusing. You have, for us long haul truckers, you have 70 hours in an 8-day period of time, all right, or 7-day period of time. 8-day period of time. I'm sorry, 60 hours in 7 days, 70 hours in 8 days, something like that. Anyway. But the important thing is, because we are all on electronic logs, and the important thing is that you have 14 hours on your day to get 11 hours worth of driving in. Okay, so the minute that I go on duty to do my pre-trip is when my 14-hour clock starts, and it doesn't start until I go on duty to do the pre-trip. Nothing stops that 14-hour clock. That 14-hour clock keeps ticking until 14 hours have passed, or whether you're driving or not. And by the time that 14 hours is done, you have to be parked. You can no longer drive, even if you've only driven a few hours. Now, this is why this is important. I'm 35 minutes to 40 minutes away from my final destination. All right, let's say that I start off right now at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'll get there at, say, 7:40. But my appointment is not until 11 o'clock. So I'm going to get there, I'm going to stop, I'm going to go off duty, and I'll just be sitting there. My 14-hour clock is ticking. Now my 70-hour clock is stopped because I'm not on duty. I mean, not my 70-hour clock, my 11-hour clock has stopped because I'm not on duty. But my 14-hour clock is still kicking. So at 7 o'clock in the morning, I have 14 hours. By the time I begin running, and let me throw something else in here. I'm not even going to discuss the 30-minute break right now because it's not going to pertain to this. All right, at this point, we'll throw that in there in a minute. So I've got 14 hours from the minute I start finish my pre-trip. Our company requires that we log at least 5 minutes in on a pre-trip. So by the time I finish my pre-trip, I've got 13 hours and 55 minutes. I drive 40 miles there. Now I've got 13 hours and 15 minutes. Okay, but it's only 7:40. All right. So that leaves me 3 hours and 20 minutes to sit there. All right, so by the time I get in the dock, provided they get me in there right at 11 o'clock, by the time I get in the dock, I'm down to 9 hours, 10 hours on my 14-hour clock. I'm down to 10 hours on my 14-hour clock. Let's say it takes them an hour and a half to get me loaded. Okay. Now I'm down to 8.5 hours on my 11-hour clock. I mean, on my 14-hour clock. Okay, but I've only driven 35 to 40 minutes. So my 11-hour clock has 10 hours and 20 minutes on it. All right, but I don't have 10 hours and 20 minutes left to drive. I'm down to 8 something. So technically, I've lost that time that I leave now, and I get there. I've lost that time in driving time. So it's important to plan your trip out so that you get the most out of your clock. Now, had I gone to the next travel plaza in Indiana and stopped there instead, I would have ended that day with probably somewhere between 5 and 6 minutes left on my clock, give or take, somewhere in that general area. I'd have ended the day with 5-6 minutes left on my clock, but I would have been 34 miles closer. All right, so I had 17 minutes that I had last night. I'd be 34 miles closer. I would have had plenty of time to get to my final last night. Now, I get to my final, they've got overnight parking. So I park at my final and I stay off duty until they're ready for me to go into the dock. And then I go into the dock. Let's say it takes them an hour and a half to unload me. Well, my 14-hour clock has just started. So, I lose an hour and a half off that. I've still got a full 11 hours of drive time. All right, so anyway, that's why it's important. Today, I looked at my hours of service last night, and over today and tomorrow, I've only got 16 hours of drive time left. I didn't realize that yesterday. So I've kind of got to be a little bit careful about how I organize my time today. If I split it right down the middle, I've got about 8 hours today and about 8 hours tomorrow. I don't gain any time back. The day after that, I'll start gaining time back. Now, one of my subscribers asked me last night if I would do something on the Qualcomm, showing how the hours of service and how the logbook works on the Qualcomm. So I can't really give a full tutorial because there's just so much involved in it. If you come to work for Millis, your trainer is going to work with you extensively on this. It took me a long time to get it down. There's a lot involved in the Qualcomm. So let's take a look at it real quick, and I'll run through some of it. All right. This is your Qualcomm. Let me let this zoom in here. You can see that I haven't changed out of the sleeper berth yet. It's got the time that I started, the time that it is now. This is in Central Time, not Eastern Time where I'm at right now. The fact that I've been in it for 14 hours and 52 minutes because, like I said, I can't leave. Normally, I would have been gone about 3 o'clock in the morning, which would have been about 4 hours ago. But, it just is what it is. I have no exceptions, no resets yet. I'm eligible for a 34-hour now. I'm not gaining anything back tomorrow or tonight, but the next day I'll gain 6 hours and 36 minutes back. Okay, so to change your status, you just hit this change button right here, and then you can change. You can choose off duty, sleeper berth, driving, or on duty. Okay, if you choose, say, on duty, then you hit this and you can choose your pre-trip, your post-trip, whether you're loading, unloading, fueling, or training, doing a random drug test, dot inspection, drop and hook, or when you edit that you forgot to change your duty status. Okay, so we're going to cancel that. Go back in here because I'm not ready to come off of this yet. On here, you'll do a vehicle inspection report at the end of every day. Vehicle inspection report is up here. Changes to trailer inspection, vehicle inspection. So you do these at the end of every day. You'll hit your vehicle inspection first. It'll ask you if you select it. It'll ask you if you have any defects. You mark any defects that you have. You shouldn't have any defects. Having these defects will put you out of service. So, you know, they prefer that you take care of these rather than mark that you have these defects. So let's cancel that, because it's not the end of the day and I'm not going to be doing any trailer inspections. All right, let's go to our home page.
Messaging.
Here you've got messaging, hours of service, navigation, trailer management, your login, performance monitoring, scanning, and your media manager. Notice that the navigation and media manager are grayed out. I don't have those options. I haven't set up navigation. I'm not going to use the Navigo. I don't like it, so I don't care about setting it up. I have my own navigation, and I'm good with that. So when you get dispatched, you're going to get this load information. Let's see. Yeah, that's at the Millis terminal. So I'm not going to bring up the final because the final is going to tell you where I'm going, and I'm not going to do all that. So this gives you all your information, your trip number, how many drops that you have, your pickup, number of pickups that you have, where you're picking it up from, or in the case of your final, where you're dropping it off at, the address, the city, phone number, pickup dates. You scroll down, it'll tell you the bill lading number, trailer number, the miles that you're getting loaded, miles that you're getting empty, and then any other instructions that are important with this load. Scroll down. If you have multiple stops, it'll give you your pickup, drop, stops, all that information. I don't have anything on here for that, so let's go back to the list. Okay, and then if you need directions to your final, then there's a deal for that. Let's go to Compose. Compose, your free form, you're arrived at shippers, loaded at shippers, ready for dispatch, arrived at trip, stop number. You know, you've got quite a few of these, you know, for just about everything. Speaking of home time request, I need to put one of those in today. Let's go back. So you compose these send them to the proper places, you know, for your whatever it is that you need to talk to somebody about.
Home.
Back to hours of service.
You have 8 hours and 0 minutes of remaining drive time.
All right, notice on hours of service here we've got several tabs. Let's go to our summary. All right. Summary tells me what today looks like. Okay, I've got 8 hours before my 8-hour rest break. This clock is going. All right, these two clocks, 14-hour and 8-hour, are going to start simultaneously. All right, your 8-hour is the 8-hour rest break is the first 8 hours of your 14-hour duty. All right, so when you start and you go on duty, you're going to have 8 hours available. Notice up here in the corner, I have 8 hours available. You'll have 8 hours available. Sometime within that 8-hour window, you have to take a 30-minute break. All right. Once that 30-minute break is over, it'll add the rest of this, provided that you've done enough of your 8-hour to gain the rest of the 14 hours. So let's talk about that for a second. Let's say that you drive for 2 hours, and then you stop and you take a 30-minute break. Okay. So you have 6 hours remaining on your 8-hour clock, which you take a 30-minute break. You're not going to get the rest of your 14 hours. What's going to happen is your clock's going to reset to 8 hours. And then within that 8 hours, you have to take a 30-minute break in order to get the rest of your time. So because you only have 11 hours of driving time, what you want to do is you want to take at least 3 hours of driving time before you take your 30-minute break. Because if you don't, then you're not going to have, you're going to have to take a second full 30-minute break in order to get the rest of your drive time. All right, so you drive for, let's say, 3 hours, or we'll say 3 hours and 25 minutes, or 3 hours and 30 minutes, make it simple. Take a 30-minute break. You've used 4 hours off of your 14-hour clock, okay? But now you have 7.5 hours remaining drive time. Okay, so that's kind of how that works. I hope it makes sense, and I hope I didn't confuse anybody. Let's go to your graph. Your graph shows you, this is your line graph. Okay, you've got 4 lines on your line graph. You're off, sleeper berth, driving, and on duty. All right, this automatically updates. You don't do anything to this. This automatically updates as soon as you change your status. As soon as you go here and you hit change and you change your status, this automatically changes. Okay, and note that it tells you where you're at. I'm 6 miles southeast of Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. You know, and I've been in the sleeper berth for 6 hours. According to this, 6 hours and 13 minutes a day. I keep forgetting that this calculates everything on Central Time Zone, and I'm in the Eastern Time Zone, so it's 7:13 right now. All right, let's go to your day log. Your day log, you see I have nothing on here because I haven't started my day yet. But your day log tells you, your day log identifies the items in this log. So let's say I was to go on duty right now for my pre-trip. I'd go on duty. It would start a second line on my day log identifying my location, how long I was on duty, and what I was doing. Okay, and then when I get to my final, it'll do it again. All right, so let's go to our 8 days. This is the 8 days that you have 70 hours of drive time in, and what it does here is it'll tell you like this is my 8th day. I have 0. Okay, that'll be today. Today that'll get filled in. All right, and then tomorrow what I will do is I will gain this day back. Now this day gets filled in, and I lose this day. I'm sorry, I was backwards. I lose this day tonight, and my day starts right here, fills in right here. Okay, now tomorrow night, I'm going to gain back this right here, 6 hours and 36 minutes. That's my on-duty time, the total amount of time that I used off my 70. All right, out of that 6 hours and 36 minutes, you can see that I drove 6 hours and 24 minutes. So I've told y'all before that I don't stop. I don't take breaks. So I want you to see this. I want you to see what I'm talking about. I drove for 6 hours and 24 minutes on that day. I did 377.1 miles, and I only was on duty for 6 hours and 36 minutes. Okay? That means that I did a 5-minute pre-trip. I did a 5-minute post-trip. That's 10 minutes. The only time I stopped that day was for 2 minutes. I took a 2-minute off-duty time to stop. Here, 10 hours and 14 minutes on duty. All right, 10 hours and 9 minutes of drive time. Somewhere I think I missed a post or pre-trip logging it in on that day. On here, 6 hours and 26 minutes on duty, 6 hours and 10 minutes of drive time. Okay, you take my post and pre-trip, 10 minutes, that's 20 minutes. That means I only stopped for 6 minutes that whole day. All right, right here, 10 hours, 16 minutes, 10 hours, 7 minutes. Only stopped for 9 minutes that day. Right here, 8 hours and 59 minutes of drive time, 9 hours and 11 minutes. So I only had 12 minutes of time in between those two, okay? 10 hours 43 minutes, 10 hours 56 minutes. Okay, so I didn't do a whole lot of stopping and a whole lot of playing around. I didn't go these times. I didn't go on duty, to do anything other than drive and to drive and get where I needed to be. These days where I've got only 6 hours and something in here. These are days where I was, loading or unloading, spending time in docks, or one of those days I was at Cartersville resetting my time, so tomorrow, tonight I'm going to lose this. Tomorrow I'm going to gain 6 hours, 36 minutes. The next day I'm going to gain 10 hours and 14, then I'm going to gain 6 hours and 26 minutes. So from the time that I knock out this, I'm gonna drive whatever I drive today, and then whatever's left from that 16 hours that I have left. Let's go back to summary. From whatever 16 hours and 21 minutes that I have left, whatever's left on there is what I'm going to carry over and add to that 6, and that's what I'll have to drive. So starting tomorrow, I'll pretty much literally be driving just on the time that I have left. Alright, next we go to approve. Approve lists, you know, all the stuff that you have on here. You know, let's go through this real quick, because what we didn't address with the other with the last 8 day log was my off-duty time. Now this will show you how much off-duty time I took. You know, there's 11 minutes there, 15 minutes there, 34 minutes there, 5 minutes there, 4 minutes there, you know, 4 minutes there, 5 minutes, and 5 minutes. That's all the off-duty time that I've had since the 29th. So let me go ahead and approve that. You just hit approve, hit OK, clears your deal out, sends that to payroll, and you're done. Last thing on here is your load. This is the information for whatever load you're under. Whenever you get a new load, you hit new load on here, you enter in all the new information, and you're done. Okay, so there's your Qualcomm for today. That's about the best I can do. I'm sure somebody will have some criticism, because I was just kind of flying off the top of my head with it. So I'm sure that everything I said wasn't quite perfect, but you know, it'll work for the rest of y'all. I'm gonna head out of here in about 45 minutes, 45 to 50 minutes, something like that. Like I said, I'm not really on a schedule, and I'm not in any big hurry. I would like to get where I'm going fairly early, because even though I'm going to lose a couple hours, because it's a busy place, they have a lot of traffic coming in and out, and they tend, even though I have an appointment, they tend to put you in the order that they receive you. So if I can get in there and maybe get in a little bit early, you know, I'm happy. If I can get there early enough so that I don't have a bunch of trucks piling in on top of me or in front of me, so that I'm not late, you know, then I'm going to do that also. So I'll leave out of here probably about 8 o'clock. I'll get there between 8:40, 8:45, and you know, that's that. Okay, let me go ahead and cut this off here, because I could find 1,000 things to talk about, and I'll end up running this out to about 30-40 minutes. And I know nobody wants to listen to me that long, so I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all take care, and we'll catch you here a little bit later. I'll do another video when I get to the receiver, kind of show you what it's like there. And then when I drive around to the dock, I'll probably put the camera up on the dash and let you see what it looks like all the way around. All right, y'all take care. Peace out.